Hello, and welcome to the Super Earth podcast, a Helldivers radio stream audition. As you heard on the most recent episode of the Super Earth podcast, Lito and Mike have decided to hang it up, and they have opened the floor to auditions. My name is Matthew, and I am going to try out, as well as my buddy Mela here. Mela, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm okay. It's a Friday night. It's Valentine's Day, and I'm spending it with you, sir.
Yup, I wouldn't want to spend it with anyone I love more than the people of the Super Earth podcast, right? Well, the two guys that we do love aren't here right now, but
this is true. Yeah, the most loved are not here right now, but you know, we hope to try and carry on their mantle as they would be proud. I think that's how I want to say that. So Mela, tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into Helldivers? What do you do when you're not spreading democracy? Who are you?
Well, great first question, obviously. I guess I'll clear up probably one thing right away. Most people probably won't know Mela right off the top of the dome, except probably those of you who I play with fairly often. As you said, I'm Mela, short for Melatonin Madman, aka Smelly, or Smelatonin. You've definitely heard my name on the podcast a couple times. Ran a couple missions with Mike and Lito here and there. So, yeah, I'll be going by Mela from this point on, just short and sweet. So Helldivers. I had no idea this game existed. Yeah, I'll be honest. No idea this game existed.
Okay.
It was about 2 weeks after launch for the game, and my brothers, who are pretty big gamers in their own right, messaged me and asked me if they wanted to try this game because they were all in on the hype that was going on at the time, sure. And for some reason I was totally oblivious. Don't know why that would be. But they asked me if I wanted to give it a shot. I thought, oh wow, a $30 game? You never see those anymore. Yeah, sure. All right, we'll download that, give it a go. Hop in, kicking some butt like you do on the early difficulties. And you thought, I'll keep kicking it up a notch here, keep going. It just started falling in love with the scenery, first of all, because the game was absolutely gorgeous. And then we decided what stuck out most in my mind was we started a mission. I think it was a level 3, and it was hunting a charger. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know it was this big, hulking bug, and I'll be honest, it kind of scared the crap out of me. And we backed out of the mission about as soon as it killed one of us. And that, surprisingly enough, was kind of the hook. So I kept playing. After about a week, they were kind of sick and tired of the game already, but I wasn't. So okay. I soloed my way to about level 30. And then I happened to, while I was at work, looking up content, because I get to listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm working. And I found, yeah, I know, right? And I found the Super Earth podcast. I gave it a listen, and they mentioned a Discord. So I joined it. And, well, that's all led to where we are now. So, keeping things kind of short and sweet.
Sure. So I am a veteran of the First Galactic War. I was all in on Helldivers 1 when it released in 2015, and it was my game of the year that year. It is still one of my 10 favorite games of all time, and the weird irony for me when Helldivers 2 was announced is I was 100% skeptical. I was like, I saw footage. I'm like, are we really just doing this now? Like, is this really just gonna be another shooter. And then the people I played Helldivers 1 a lot with, we all jumped in day one, and it was immediately not that. I was 100% turned around on the game. Like the thing that, and I said this when I was a guest for Mike and Lito, the thing that it did was it played and looked like the way the first game made me feel doing those missions, because the first game is top down and it looks kind of indie arcadey, and whereas this looks like just a fantastic shooter. Like I mean, a lot of people throw around like this game is really cinematic, and I think it is, but I don't think it's cinematic in like the way God of War is, or the way that like Metal Gear Solid tries to be, or any graphical powerhouse sort of game. This is cinematic in the way that like it channels the player into a situation that is almost always so near inescapable that it just keeps your blood pressure relatively high, but in a good way. And then I was immediately struck, like, on those few times in a mission where you get like a bit of quiet, you look up and you just see just gorgeous, almost scenes out of No Man's Sky, you know, in just space. You look and you realize you were on another planet in a lot of ways. And then when you get into interacting with other players, be they friends or randoms, the chaos that can be created is just still a wonderful thing a year later. And it was the same in the first game. It was more of a chaos simulator than a tactical, like, we can go and do this mission super clean and get the heck out. And then all of the people that I started playing with like fell off. My schedule kind of started getting weird at work, so I was able to play with them less and less. So then I started thinking, I actually started thinking, like, I wonder if there are any Helldivers 2 podcasts. And if there aren't, I'm going to start one. And then I literally Googled and found them. And this was before I found Mike and Lito, before they had a Discord. And I sent an email to the Super Podcast email and was like, hey, so glad you guys are doing a podcast. If you guys ever want a third, let me know. And almost immediately, like, Lito responded and said, hey, we're going to be on, come play with us. And we've just kind of been buds ever since.
Thus the legend of the Super Earth Discord Skull Admiral was born,
yes.
right?
yes. And then I was on episode 5 because I was already a Skull Admiral, and they're like, oh, we've got a Skull Admiral to help us. And then I think it was after episode 5 that the Discord actually started to take shape, because then Totally Not a Bot came in and that some things went down behind the scenes. Totally Not a Bot has left, but the Discord wouldn't look the way it is without him. I know on an episode they said, like, I was the first one in the house, but, like, I think I may have been in the house, but, like, Totally Not a Bot made the Discord what it is. And then we've played, like, you and I've played together a bunch, and I'm Infinite Rewind in the server. So yeah, I've played with a lot of the server, and the server's a lot of really good people. And if granted the opportunity to do the Super Earth podcast, like, I would relish that, because it was kind of why I started to do it in the first place. So
Yeah. No, you're all right, man.
So now Mike and Lito specifically asked for like Helldivers takes. So I figured you and I could just trade back and forth. Like, what's a good take you have on Helldivers?
A good take that I have?
Yeah.
I'm not known for my takes, so but
it's fine.
God, I don't. Well, here's the thing. If it means anything, I'm not a huge shooter guy. When I was younger, I used to play a lot of Halo. That was my big thing, and then just stopped playing because a lot of these communities they kind of brew toxicity, and especially like competitive shooters. I was never a Call of Duty guy. Halo again was like the only one I could play, but that's because I was actually kind of good at it. But then it just kind of fell out of it. And Helldivers was actually the first shooter that I had probably picked up in maybe 8 years.
Oh wow.
So considering the fact that I'm still playing it now is a testament to, first of all, the quality of gameplay that it provides. I mean, everything you do is incredible. And I know some people get turned off by the gameplay loop that it kind of puts you in, but I see it from a different perspective where every mission, yeah, we only have like a few different objectives that we can do, but no matter what you're doing, it's different every single time, whether that be whoever you're with or just the enemy type or so on and so forth. But the biggest kicker here is the community itself. And there aren't many games that can foster and continue to grow a community like Helldivers has in the past. I would almost say decade.
Yeah.
This is just it right now. I mean, it's almost bigger than a game per se. I don't even watch the news very often, but I'll open my Helldivers tab every morning, see what's going on.
Yeah. Get your Helldivers there's the Helldivers companion app that kind of replaced Helldivers.io for me, and yeah, I look at that way too much still after a year. But yeah, that's actually a fantastic take because I'm not a shooter guy either. I'm more into co-op than I am competitive. And one thing that always made me want to talk about the first game was the fact that the kill death ratio made it was a moot point. Like, you could talk about how many times you died in a mission because if I remember correctly, like, the missions weren't timed, but if you stayed in a mission longer, it just ramped up even more. And it was more about getting the objectives done than it was killing the enemies.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the factions in the first game, while they're basically the same three factions they are now, each faction in Helldivers 2, you have to play the game differently. And that's what I love about it. Whereas in the first game, they presented different challenges, but it was never... I think you could probably have more of a Swiss Army knife loadout for everything than you can in Helldivers 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in 2... I mean, look, I got my preferences, but even though I like them as much as I do, I find myself going into a mission with a different loadout just about every single time, because maybe I know like one weapon, the exclusive weapon you get when you buy the game, sucks, and some are really good. What is that thing called? The Knight, that crappy SMG.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you almost said Constitution. Don't ever use that thing. I speak from experience. That was.
Yeah, no, that's
especially
those. But and like the community got all mad about those weapons. I think.
But it's funny.
It's like that's the joke.
Isn't that the point?
That is 100% the joke.
I mean, the whole game in itself is satire. So why not pop a couple funny one-liners in there? You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. But I think my good take on the game is you can use any weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You can use any stratagem. You can use any support weapon, and you can use them and succeed in a mission if you know how to play those weapons. Like, you have to try, you have to practice, or you have to, maybe not practice isn't the right word, but you have to try, and then in trying you figure that stuff out. I'm gonna lead off with a really bad take.
Okay.
And my bad take is that mines are good, actually.
Oh no, but I mean, look, nobody likes when somebody brings in the mines. I would agree that there are things that are far more useful and practical, but mines. I mean, we had that it was ages ago now, but we had one of those defend missions. And I think we were on with, it was you, me, I'm pretty sure Krabicus was there.
Yep.
Another guy from the server. And then God, I'm really blanking out on who I think it was Beardly. Was it Beardly?
Yeah, it was probably Beardly.
Probably was. Shout out to you, man.
Or it was Argent complaining about someone
maybe.
bringing mine.
Which, I mean, we have plenty of stories about him, but I mean, I remember I think it was me who mentioned we should probably just go all mines. Why not? You know? Screw it. Let's see what happens. And it was on a 9 because I don't think they had 10s released at the time.
10s were not out yet.
No. And
the anti-tank mines were still just a glimmer in Arrowhead's eye.
Oh, they were awful. But, I mean, somehow, I think we managed to win that, didn't we?
We did.
And
we did.
You know what that means, right? It means I never have to do it again.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it just goes to show that regardless of what you have...
For me, Mela, what that means for me is I have to do it every time now.
Okay, well, just remind me not to play with you then.
Nope, never.
But I mean, it just goes to prove your point that regardless of what you're bringing in, I mean, yeah, it might not be good in a practicality sense, but you can make it work, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I like the airburst. People are probably cringing when I say that because a lot of you...
I'm one of them. I cannot stand that thing.
Yeah, and a lot of you have been caught in my crossfire. Apologies. You're one of the many.
Sorry, not sorry, dog.
Yep. But hey, look, the thing's good. I mean, you know, when you use it just right.
Sure.
Again, I'm not using it right, obviously. I'm not known for my gameplay, my skill, but you know, I like it.
And that is all that matters. That is all that will ever matter. I mean, now I could talk about how the airburst was at the beginning because there were plenty of problems.
I still used it
from a technical standpoint. Like, those problems have been fixed, and I can admit that now. But I can also hold on to my absolute disdain for that weapon. But I'm never going to pipe up in a multiplayer lobby with a bunch of randoms going, how dare you bring that?
No.
Because ultimately everything works against everything. And
yeah, oftentimes your expectations are exceeded when somebody brings in something dumb, you know?
Oh yeah.
They're like, why the hell are you wearing this or that, or why do you have the crossbow? That was one that got me for a while. I was like, why are you bringing the crossbow? You know, before it got that huge buff. I mean, it just, why are you using that? And then people would blow me away by, you know, popping a large group of robots or bugs or taking out objectives from incredibly long distances, things like that. Yeah. I'm like, it makes me want to use it. I won't, but
yeah, I mean, my name in the server is Infinite_Rewind.
Spear Sicko.
And I like the spear when it needed to still be fixed. Because everyone was like, you can't target anything, and then I would actually bring it every mission and be like, can't target anything? Bye Charger, bye Fabricator, bye Hulk.
Yeah, I feel like They
They're
did
like,
that just
how
for
are you
you.
doing that? I'm like, I'm just being patient with the weapon.
No,
And then
you had some kind of in with Arrowhead. They knew you, and they're like, you know what? Let's make it work just for this guy.
Yes, they're like, yeah, Infinite's part of. He was in the first Galactic War. He played this game he played Helldivers 1 for 8 years. We'll
Right.
make his spear work and
Right.
nobody else's. I would love it if that were the case. That would make me so happy. But at the same time, no, that's not the case.
No.
But you know, they fixed the spear. Now the spear's, you know, S tier. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that the autocannon is technically the best balanced weapon in the game. But
Yeah. Even if it is, I don't find myself using that thing very often.
yeah,
Like I will
yeah,
lean towards a spear or a recoilless, or you know. I mean,
depending on the mission, I will try an autocannon. I'm not good with it
no.
because I don't play with it a lot. But
Again, we can't. None of us can be Argent. So
yeah,
there you
none
go.
of us can be the legend that is Argent.
No.
So I'm gonna put a funny take in your mouth.
Go for it.
Team killing is good, actually.
Well, I mean, if you play with me, you don't get a choice.
Yeah.
And you know I've got like the reputation as, you know, a team killer of sorts.
Mhm.
But you know, no one believes me when I say I don't do it on purpose. Most of the time, you know, most of the time.
And as someone who's played with you, I think you don't do it on purpose anymore.
Okay,
But
yeah.
there were times. There were times.
Well, yeah, the Dark Ages, but we don't.
Well,
we
I
don't
mean,
need to talk about that.
there was a story that I put that ended up being on the podcast. It was read by Mike and Lito.
Was that dark? Oh, that was the Darth Vader, right?
That was the dark.
Vader?
That was yeah, where we had Darth Vader PR, a random in our party with us. It was you, Argent,
man.
and I. And then at one point, I look over, and you and Argent are aiming your weapons at each other, and you're like,
yeah.
Argent, what are you looking at? And he's like, I don't know. What are you looking at? So I run up behind you and just melee attack you.
I mean, hey, there's something just glorious about, you know, just beating in the head of your ally sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and then I run because the Pelican had arrived,
Mm-hmm.
and Argent, as you get up, hits you again,
Mm-hmm.
and he runs. You're running after us. And Darth Vader PR is the last one on the ship, and that person had to be sitting there going, "What did I just see? what just happened?"
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think. I mean, we were all talking because we were in a Discord chat, so they did not hear us.
No.
But from the outside, that had to be just
Some
something.
Looney Tunes stuff going on.
Some Keystone Cops Looney Tunes, like absolute Three Stooges shenanigans. And it's great. I don't remember. In the server, there's a couple of people who remember Helldivers 1 relatively well. I think it's either Ruby or Muffin. Them and I want the Shredder to come back.
And I don't know what that
Helldivers
is. Do you
2.
want to enlighten me?
Oh, of course. Oh, I will. So you know the 500 kg bomb?
Oh yeah, best weapon.
It's in terms of the way that looks in Helldivers 2. In Helldivers 1, the Shredder looked about 5 times the size of the explosion.
Oh, all right.
And it was one of those things that unless you were sprinting away from it, it was inescapable.
Oh my God.
And I don't want to use this in like any sort of practical sense. I just want to throw it and have it explode as the Pelican is taking off.
I mean,
extraction. So I mean, while doing that out of the 500 kg firebomb is great, but doing it out of the Shredder will look like the Millennium Falcon going out of the exploding Death Star at the end of Return of the Jedi. I want it specifically for the spectacle, not for the substance, not for the use case, and I just want to be silly with it, which is what makes this game so special. Is you can be silly with every weapon.
Oh yeah.
But I know they wanted us to keep it to like less than 15 minutes. We have gone for almost 26.
Yeah, I think they were asking for a lot there.
So yeah, I mean, two buddies getting and talking. Yeah, just don't talk a lot.
Yeah,
That's
sorry
all.
guys,
Just,
sorry Mike, sorry Lito, but this is what you're getting.
But anything you'd like to say before we bounce?
No, other than I hope to see the rest of you in the server still, and I'm gonna kick your ass.
I echo the sentiments. I want to see you in the server. I want to spread democracy. Let's kill some bots. Let's spill some oil and let's
for
let's
whoever
cook some squids.
yeah, and for whoever does end up being the next host of the podcast, whoever it is, if it's not us, if it's somebody else, my support still completely in with the server, with the podcast itself, the Discord, everything. So I'm ready to submit our application, I guess.
Yes, same. And yeah, join the server, come play with us, and let's end it the way they would, Mela. Let's go play.
Yeah, let's do that.
All Super Earth podcast content is based on the game Helldivers 2, created by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment.